application system closed. My childhood friend called me and said, Chang, right before the system closed, I changed your application choices to a junior college. I thought he was playing a dare game and joking with me. It wasn't until I heard him say in a serious tone, don't blame me, I have to let you win at least once, with trembling hands. I logged into the volunteer system as fast as I could, but I kept refreshing it over and over. The page still showed the choices I'd submitted. Nothing had changed. I was dumbfounded. My choices hadn't been changed at all. So whose choices did he change? A wave of shock and utter absurdity washed over me. It took me quite a while to find my voice again, and even then, I couldn't stop trembling. So just to let you beat me, you changed my college choices. Yes, Chin Science, sure. Unwavering voice crashed heavily into my ears. It was like a crackling current, so sharp it made my ears ache. You come first in every exam and always outshine her. That really leaves her with no face at all. If you end up going to a school that's worse than hers this time, then she'll have beaten you once. But don't worry, it's not like we really want you to go to a junior college. Your grades are good anyway, so repeating a year won't be a problem. I'll help you find a good prep class, and next year Yo-Yo and I will be waiting for you at Fudan. I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. Fudan, this was a goal Chin Science and I used to set together, but after the Suyu family moved in that summer of our sophomore year, and she transferred into our class little by little, Chin Science only remembered that Suyu liked strawberries and forgot that I liked lychees. He only remembered Suyu's period, forgot that mine had come too, and even shoved the cold drink she didn't want into my hands. The dream of going to Fudan together turned into a promise between him and Suyu. We've known each other since we were 6, we grew up together for 12 years, like childhood sweethearts, yet he was willing to ruin my future for Suyu. My heart has gone cold. His voice was even colder. Chin Science, you've broken the law. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end of the line. Chin Science's mocking laughter came through, still as harsh and grating as ever. So what, are you going to call the police? Of course I want to call the police, but my application choices hadn't been changed. Without any solid evidence, Chin Science could easily claim he was just joking with me. At worst, I'd just get a talking to and that would be the end of it. Seeing my silence, Chin Science's words carried a bit more confidence. I knew it. You wouldn't do it. Alright, I'll help you find a repeat year prep class next. Just focus on getting ready to retake the year. With that, he hung up. I immediately blocked all of Chin Science's contact information. Having grown up with a lunatic like him was truly the most embarrassing chapter of my life. After I finished telling her, my best friend Tan Ning also thought Chin Science was out of his mind. Has he lost it? Changing college applications is illegal. What, does he have a donkey kick for a brain? She looked a little worried. Then what are you going to do? Are you really going to repeat your senior year? I looked completely at ease. Repeat the year? Why would I? He didn't manage to change it. I've already been admitted to Tsinghua and Peking University. Tan Ning broke into a radiant smile at once, but soon, she froze again. He didn't change it. Then whose application choices did he change? I shrugged. I don't know. I'm not really sure whether he actually changed his application choices or was just trying to scare me. Forget it. Let's not talk about these unhappy things. We didn't bring up Chin Science and Suyu again until Tan Ning suddenly grabbed my arm nervously. Ching ching. Look at the class group chat. 2. I opened the class group chat. There I saw Chin Science and Suyu inviting everyone out to dinner to celebrate getting into Fudan. Someone asked about me. Chang filled out the wrong preference and ended up applying to a junior college by mistake. She'll probably be preparing to retake the exam. Chin Science's words landed like a bomb, instantly stirring up a splash of chatter in the group chat. How do you even mess up a college application? Do you have your eyes closed? Probably studied so much they got dumbed down, and now they can't even get their application right. Honestly, it'd be better if Chang repeated a year. She's been clinging to Yanji every day just because she grew up with him. Isn't that keeping her Yanji from being with the class beauty? And nerd is a nerd, completely oblivious, with no sense of social cues at all. And look at themselves, for crying out loud, wearing those black-rimmed glasses all day with that cold, stony face. How could they possibly compare to our gentle class belle? The stage was finally set. Suyu finally made her entrance. Oh, don't say that. It was Chang's own mistake that caused her to mess up her college application choices, but we're all classmates here, so don't make fun of her. Cyan and I already agreed too. We'll help Chang repeat the year together. Before long, someone chimed in. Yu is not only beautiful but kind-hearted. As for certain people, if you don't even know basic manners, why don't you hurry up and come out here to bow down and Thank our class beauty. So what if someone gets first place every single day? They can't even fill out a college application. Now that you got into Fudan, she's the real top dog in our class. Tan Ning was furious. Those bastards. Just wait till I give them a piece of my mind. She angrily picked up her phone, but I held her back. I'm in. I immediately tossed a recording into the group chat. It was the call where Chin Sion said he'd changed my college choices. Luckily, after the Gaokao scores came out, I was worried about running into a fake admission scam, so I turned on call recording and kept it as evidence. I never expected it to come in handy here. The group stayed silent for a full 5 minutes, then it blew up again. I knew there was no way Yi Cheng would mess up her college choices. Turns out someone changed them, but changing someone else's college applications is illegal, right? Just because Su Yu couldn't outscore Yi Cheng, Chin Sion secretly changed Yi Cheng's college choices. They grew up together, for heaven's sake. Did he really have to be that ruthless and ruin her future? The group chat was almost tearing Chin Sion and Su Yu apart until Su Yu said, "This isn't real, it's definitely a fake recording." Before the application system closed, Sion had been playing games the whole time and never touched the computer at all. How could he have changed his choices? She even whipped out a photo of the two of them together. In the background was the game clear screen on the TV. It happened 3 minutes after the system shut down. The group chat has turned against me again. Everyone's accusing me of being jealous that Chin Sion and Su Yu are dating, and saying I deliberately framed them, but Chin Sion changed my application choices for Su Yu's sake. We're all in the same boat. Of course Su Yu would defend Chin Sion. How could anything she says be trusted? I can't even be bothered to argue back. Tan Ning just couldn't take it anymore and started cursing in the group chat. I didn't stop her this time. After a long intense session, she finally felt satisfied. We watched the movie together, then went home separately after stepping out of the elevator, just as we were nearing the front door, but I ran into Chin Sion, 3, because our families live right across from each other, so I'd already figured Chin Sion would be waiting to corner me at my doorstep. I walked over with complete calm. Chin Sion spotted me and immediately strode over, glaring at me with a menacing look. "Yi Cheng, you actually dared to record this." I curled my lip in mockery. "You were bold enough to change your college choices, so why would you be afraid of me recording this?" Chin Sion gritted his teeth in fury, saying it in a commanding tone. "You need to immediately cooperate with Yu and clarify in the group chat that the audio was synthesized by you." I put on a cold face. "No way." Chin Sion clenched his fists tightly. Veins bulged on his forehead. "Yi Cheng, it's just about letting Yu win this once. I already told you. I'll help you repeat the year. With your foundation, you could get into Fudan University even if you retake the exam. The end result is the same, so is it really necessary to make such a scene?" Seeing the helpless look on his face, as if he were blaming me for being so immature, I just want to slap him twice, but the way he looked so certain always made me feel like he'd actually changed my major. But before I submitted my application, the system popped up a warning saying I hadn't changed my password in a while. To be safe, I went ahead and changed it, and I didn't tell anyone. Not even my mom knew the new password. There's no way Chin Sion could have logged into my account to change my application that day. His words scared me so much my mind went blank, which is why I didn't think of this. Besides, my acceptance letters from Tsinghua and Peking University are about to arrive. So whose application did he actually change? I calmed down. I really hope no one has to go through the misfortune of having their application choices tampered with. A friendly reminder to Chin Sion: "I don't know if what you're saying is true or not, but I've already been accepted into Tsinghua and Peking University. If you really did change someone's application, you should find that person and make it right." Chin Sion was taken aback for a moment, then he let out a scoffing laugh. "Yi Cheng, why are you putting on such a tough act? To get one over on Yu, you'd even stoop to telling a lie like that?" I rolled my eyes on the spot. I finally understand what it means to not argue with fools. Without saying another word, she flashed him an international gesture of goodwill, then walked past him, opened the door, and went inside. Mom happened to be coming out of the kitchen. "You're back. Wash your hands and come eat." I saw a plate of braised pork, my favorite, sitting on the table. "All the unpleasantness from just now has completely blown over dinner," Mom said with a smile. "Your dad called today and said he'll be back by the end of the month." My eyes lit up immediately. "Really? Dad has been stationed at the border all these years and rarely comes home after the college entrance exams." Mom said Dad was being transferred to the capital, and she was also planning to apply for a transfer to the headquarters there, so when it came time to fill out our university applications, We discussed it and decided to apply to Peking University and Tsinghua University in the capital. That way, our family of 3 can be reunited in Beijing. I was still basking in the joy of knowing I was about to see my dad. Mom, however, suddenly changed the subject. When you came back just now, I thought I heard Cyan's voice. Were you two arguing? For the smile instantly vanished from my lips, my mouth setting into a hard, thin line. After some thought, I decided to tell my mother about how Cyan had altered my college application choices. Furious, she slammed her chopsticks down on the table. I'm so furious. All these years, I've watched over them, a widow and her child, taking care of them at every turn. I never imagined Cyan would try to destroy you. Mom's eyes were all red. I comforted her. Mom, don't be angry. Now that we know what kind of people they are, let's just stay away from them from now on. After a long while, Mom calmed down and nodded. You're right. What's done is done. Let's not have anything to do with her and her son from now on. But later, when Tan Ning and I got home from shopping, we overheard the neighbors chatting downstairs. I heard that Yi Cheng from apartment 606 messed up his college application and ended up at a vocational college. Talk about karma. Her mother was a mistress, and even heaven couldn't stand it, making it so her daughter, despite scoring 700 points, could only get into a junior college. I was completely dumbfounded. Since when was my mother a mistress, and since when was I supposed to go to a junior college? I rushed over and confronted them. The neighbor was terrified. They quickly said, it wasn't me who said it, it was Yu Ling. Yu Ling is Cyan's mother. I immediately rushed upstairs and started pounding on their door. Open up, get out here. Suddenly, the sound of a door opening came from behind me. Ching, what's wrong? I spilled out all the gossip I just overheard. Now there were 2 people pounding on the door. They were banging so hard the door was nearly smashed in, but no one came out. It wasn't until Yu Ling's voice came from behind me. Senior Rong, were you looking for me? Mom and I turned around at the same time. I saw Qin Xiang and Su Yu with Yu Ling, along with the whole family. Mom stepped forward and slapped Yu Ling across the face, voice trembling with anger. Yu Ling, I've never done anything to wrong you. Why are you spreading rumors everywhere that I'm a mistress? Yu Ling was stunned by the blow, but a flicker of panic still crossed her face. Mrs. Su stepped forward to support Yu Ling. Sis Rong, let's talk things out calmly. What's the point of hitting someone, with someone backing her up? Yu Ling also straightened her back. Sister Rong, you said your husband is in the military and can't come back because he's working away, but it's not possible for him to never come home the whole year, right? Unless your man isn't a soldier at all, but a man with a family, and besides, you dress so impeccably every day. Just look at your monthly salary. Rong Jia, can you really blame me for having my suspicions? But when you do something that breaks up a family, you're bound to face some kind of retribution. So you see, even though Yi Cheng scored 700 points, it seems fate itself couldn't stand by and let her succeed. That's why she messed up her college application and ended up at a vocational college. 5. Because Dad's job was a bit unusual. Mom had only ever mentioned to Yu Ling that Dad was in the military, stationed away from home most of the year, and left it at that. Besides, after all these years, Mom had long since been promoted to an executive position. Of course, you have to dress professionally for work. I never imagined things would be twisted to this extent. Mother stared at Yu Ling as if seeing her for the first time, trembling with rage and pointing a shaking finger. Utterly speechless, I took her hand to comfort her. Then I stepped forward and looked Yu Ling straight in the eye. First, your current actions amount to defaming military personnel and their spouses. If I file a report, you will be detained. Second, Cyan changed my college application choices down to a junior college just for Su Yu. Changing someone else's application choices is illegal. Yu Ling was taken aback for a moment. Mr. Su and Mrs. Su also exchanged a stunned glance. Cyan and Su Yu exchanged furtive glances, as if flustered, but Cyan reacted quickly. Yi Cheng, who changed your college application choices? You didn't fill yours out properly, so how can you blame us for this? Concerning Su Yu, Su's father also stepped forward to speak up. What does this have to do with our Yu? Don't you dare lash out like a rabid dog. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. What a complete lack of upbringing. Mom was so furious she was about to throw a punch. I held her back, ready to play the recording. A strange man's voice suddenly cut in. Excuse me. Are you Yi Cheng from 606 and Cyan from 605? We all turned our heads in unison. It was a delivery guy. Your admission letters have arrived. Please bring your ID card to sign for them. By the way, 603 Suyu's package has arrived too. Is she here? Suyu called out excitedly. I'm here. The three of us signed for it with our ID cards. Qin Xian glanced at the document in my hand, his smile laced with sarcasm. Yi Cheng, I don't think there's any need to open yours either. Yo-Yo and I both got accepted to Fudan, so you'd better not take out that junior college admission letter and embarrass yourself. The delivery guy is still here, unable to help but look at Qin Xian in confusion. What junior college? This girl's acceptance letter is from Tsinghua or Peking University. She's the one who got the junior college acceptance letter. 6. Everyone followed the delivery guy's gaze to Suyu, their eyes wide with shock. Suyu was also stunned for a moment, then she retorted angrily, Are you out of your mind? I'm clearly holding the Fudan University letter. Hers is the vocational college admission letter. How could it possibly be from Tsinghua or Peking University? The delivery guy frowned. What mistake? Are you questioning my competence? A university acceptance letter is an incredibly important document. How could I possibly mess that up? Qin Xian sized up the delivery guy. He let out a sudden, contemptuous laugh. I get it now. Yi Cheng put you up to this little act with her, didn't she? Yi Cheng, what's the point? Once you open that package, the whole charade will fall apart anyway. I couldn't be bothered to talk to this lunatic anymore. The delivery guy was so mad he actually laughed. What are you talking about? Acting? In all my years delivering acceptance letters, I've never once made a mistake. I'm just baffled. Could a perfectly good admission letter from Tsinghua or Peking University really turn into one from a junior college? Hey, go ahead and open it up. Let everyone see for themselves. Is this really a Tsinghua or Peking University acceptance letter or not? I smiled. All right. In front of everyone, I tore open the document pouch and took out an envelope. After opening it, I took out the admission letter, unfolded it, and held it up. Everyone could clearly see the gilded Tsinghua/Peking University logo at the top, along with my name in bold, black lettering. Instantly, there was a collective, sharp intake of breath. Suyu was the first to snap out of it. Her pretty face was flushed with anger. Qin Xian, why was she admitted to Tsinghua and Peking University? Didn't you say she was guaranteed to get into a junior college this time, and that I could definitely beat her? Qin Xian glanced at me, then at Suyu, before lowering his head in a flustered, awkward manner. The delivery guy took a look at the admission letter in my hand and grinned from ear to ear. The Tsinghua and Peking University admission letters really are something special. Congratulations, young lady, really, congratulations. I thanked him, and the delivery guy left. On the other side, Suyu also opened her package and saw the admission letter. Her scream echoed through the entire hallway. Ah, why isn't my acceptance letter from Fudan University, but instead from a vocational school? 7. My mom and I exchanged a surprised glance, covering their mouth to hide a smug, gleeful chuckle. Wow. So it was Qin Xian who altered Suyu's college application choices. Suyu rushed forward and grabbed Qin Xian by the collar. Qin Xian, what on earth is going on here? Qin Xian stared at the college acceptance letter in Suyu's hand, completely stunned. It took me a moment to snap out of it before I turned to look at him. Wait, Yi Cheng, didn't you apply for the same program as me? I let out a soft, scoffing laugh, as if I'd ever apply for the same thing as you. Qin Xian's eyes shot wide open in shock. A flicker of panic flashed in his eyes, but soon regained his composure. Then he raised his hand and pointed at me. I've got it. Yi Cheng, you must have tampered with Yi's application because you couldn't stand losing to her. I rubbed my forehead and let out a wry smile. What an absolute legend. Even Suyu believed it. Yes, Yi Cheng, it must have been you who changed my application. I looked at them like they were idiots. You two are really something, playing the victim when it was clearly you who messed with my application choices. But heaven has eyes. You didn't manage to change it. I glanced at the junior college acceptance letter in Suyu's hand and clicked my tongue disapprovingly. It even made the wrongdoers get their comeuppance. The two of them were so angry their faces turned pale then flushed, which was oddly captivating. Suyu stamped her foot in frustration. She was on the verge of tears. Dad, this bitch changed my college application choices. What am I supposed to do? Su's father gently patted Suyu on the shoulder. A menacing gaze landed on me. Don't be afraid. Let's call the police and have her arrested. Qin Xian's face turned deathly pale. No, I cut him off forcefully. Go ahead, call the police. I'd love to see who ends up behind bars. My gaze, full of provocation, landed on Chin Sayan's pallid face. Chin Sayan wanted to stop Mr. Su from making the call, but it was already too late. Watching Mr. Su report the incident to the police, his face grew even paler. Wait for Mr. Su to hang up the phone. A familiar voice echoed down the hallway. Arong, Ching Ching, what's going on? I cried out in delight. Dad, 8. We never even had a chance to talk. Yu Ling sneered as she began to speak. Rongjia, didn't you say your husband works away all year and can't come back? What a coincidence. He shows up just when trouble hits. They must be scared Yi Cheng will get arrested, so they rushed to call in their sugar daddy for help. Even though Dad wasn't home much, he had still met Yu Ling before. He looked utterly confused. What sugar daddy? I'm her husband. Yu Ling let out a dismissive chuckle. All right, we all know the truth now. Sister Rong is just one of your lovers. Dad's expression immediately turned serious, pulled out the marriage certificate from the wallet he carried on his person. See for yourself, we're legally married, with the papers to prove it. They exchanged uneasy glances, but Yu Ling and Chin Sayan really are mother and son. Their stubborn refusal to admit anything is exactly the same, she muttered. So you even know how to fake a certificate to pull the wool over people's eyes. Dad's face grew even darker. Forging documents is illegal. How could I possibly break the law knowingly? Just then, 2 police officers walked over. Who called the police just now? Mr. Su stepped forward and said, it was me. He pointed at me angrily. This person changed my daughter's college application. Arrest her. My father was shocked when he heard this. Changed her application? What do you mean? His mother leaned in and whispered an explanation in his ear. I calmly took out my phone and started recording. I never tampered with anyone's application, but I have proof that someone tampered with mine. As soon as the recording played, both officers furrowed their brows. Chin Sayan's face grew paler and paler, desperately trying to defend himself. He shouted, don't believe her, that recording is fake, it's all been digitally manipulated, we each have our own version of the story. The scene was total chaos. We were all taken back to the station. Chin Sayan, Suyuyu and I were taken to 3 separate rooms for questioning. I remained completely calm the entire time. I answered every question calmly and methodically, with clear reasoning. The investigation took a long time. I don't know how much time has passed. The door opened. Miss Yi, the investigation is complete. Your suspicion has been cleared. You may leave now. Regarding the issue of your application being altered, we've looked into it. There was no unusual login activity on your application system account. As for that phone call, Chin Sayan also stated that he was just joking with you. Since your application data appears completely normal, there is currently no substantive evidence to prove that Chin Sayan tampered with your choices. We have also spoken to him about it and told him he cannot make jokes like that in the future. Just as I thought, I nodded calmly in thanks and got up to leave. When I stepped outside, I realized it was just beginning to get light, so I'd been here all night. The moment my parents saw me, they rushed over. Ching Ching, are you all right? Are you hurt? Mom took my hands and looked me over, her face full of concern. I smiled, squeezed her hand, and shook my head. After the questioning, Suyuyu was curled up in her mother's arms, crying. When she saw me, she was both shocked and furious. She changed my college application choices. Why has she been let out? The police officer didn't bat an eye. We checked it. Your application was changed in the very last minute before the system shut down. At the time, Yi Cheng was at home and had no access to the device used to change applications, so he has already been ruled out as a suspect. The 3 members of the Su family were all stunned when they heard that. 9. Even if Suyuyu and the Su parents still have issues with me, the police investigation can't be wrong. They all fell silent at once. Yu Ling asked anxiously, what about Chin Sayan? This has nothing to do with my son. Why has Yi Cheng been released? But he still hasn't. At present, we found that when Suyuyu's application was altered, the device used was Chin Sayan's computer, so he is the prime suspect. We still need to carry out further investigation, so no one is allowed to leave for now. Yu Ling and the Su family members looked as if they had been struck by lightning, all frozen in shock. Suyuyu, in particular, still had tears on her face. She murmured, how could this happen? How could this happen? As if something had just occurred to her. She suddenly rushed over, grabbed my shoulders, and shook me hard. It was you. All of this is your fault. If it weren't for you, my choices wouldn't have been changed. I was speechless at how she was trying to pin the blame on me. She wrenched her hand free, losing her balance. She fell to the ground. Suyuyu, if you hadn't tried to beat me and asked Chin Sayan to change my college preferences, how could today's farce have happened? The person you should Blame most is yourself. So Yu sat on the floor, dazed for a long while. Suddenly, she got up and lunged at Yu Ling. Gripping Yu Ling's throat tightly, she screamed in a hysterical rage. This is your son's fault. I was supposed to go to Fudan. Qin Xian changed my college choices. He changed my college choices. Yu Ling was nearly strangled to the point of suffocation, her face turning red. Someone stepped in and separated the two of them, but Su Yu flailed with both hands and feet, punching and kicking Yu Ling. The scene descended into utter chaos. My parents and I both wanted no more of this farce. They stood on either side of me and took my hands. My mom said gently, "Ching Ching, let's go home." Surrounded by them, I suddenly felt a sense of security, and my mood lightened a great deal. We had just walked out the gate then, from behind us, came Yu Ling's trembling cry, Sister Rong, don't go." She blocked our path. She still didn't seem to have fully recovered. Her cheeks were flushed. She was breathing hard, and her whole body was swaying unsteadily. Mom turned away in disgust, not even glancing at her, and pulled me along, trying to go around her. To her surprise, Yu Ling grabbed her hand and knelt down in front of her. "Sister Rong, please, I'm begging you, please save my son. Your husband is in the military, he'll definitely have a way. Please, I'm begging you, I'm begging you." Yu Ling was crying her heart out, yet even mother, so gentle and tender, showed no reaction at all. Her face remained cold and expressionless. She curled her lips, and a faint, mocking laugh escaped her throat. "And now you're saying my husband is a soldier?" In an instant, all the color drained from Yu Ling's face. Mom forcefully shook off Yu Ling's hand. "Yu Ling, I treated you well all these years. When Qin Xian got sick in the middle of the night, I drove you both to the hospital, and when you couldn't even afford the registration fee, I paid it for you. Whenever I bought cooking oil and rice, I always thought of you. I was worried you didn't have enough money, and I was afraid Qin Xian wouldn't get enough to eat while he was growing, so I always bought an extra portion. Whenever the New Year or other holidays came around, the red envelope I gave Qin Xian was always the biggest." "And how did you treat Ching Ching and me? You spread rumors about my relationship with my husband, and your son almost ruined Ching Ching's future. And now you have the nerve to ask me to help your son. Who do you think you are?" 10. Mom was so flustered that her eyes had turned misty at the corners. Dad held Mom in his arms and gently patted her back to comfort her. I also held her hand tightly. Yu Ling knelt on the ground, head lowered, and stayed silent for quite a while. When she looked up again, her eyes were red-rimmed. "Sister Rong, I know it was my fault. You can hit me, scold me, do whatever you want, but Siwon is my only son. I'm begging you. Please help him, okay? I'll kneel to you. I'll work myself to the bone for you. Anything, I'll do anything." Yu Ling was sobbing so hard her shoulders were shaking. Her mother looked down at her. Her voice was much calmer than it had been a moment ago. "Yu Ling, you've actually felt pretty uneasy all these years, haven't you? I've helped you so much, and yet you're thinking, why should I be able to live better than you? But you still need my support, so all you can do is swallow it." Then the Su family moved in next door. You saw that they ran their own company and that the man was the boss, so you wanted Qin Xian to become their prized son-in-law. Now that you don't need my support anymore, you want to kick me aside and even smear my name on purpose. Yu Ling's shoulders trembled harder and harder, and she never lifted her head again. Mom took a deep breath. "Yu Ling, the police will investigate your son's case. It's not my husband's place to get involved. That's it for whatever ties our two families had. Don't come looking for us again." Mom led Dad and me away. Yu Ling probably knew she had no face to keep begging us, so she didn't chase after us again. When I got home, I learned that while my parents were waiting for me to question them, they had run into an old comrade from the army who was there taking care of household registration paperwork. That old comrade told them about the time my parents got married and he attended their wedding banquet. Only then did Yu Ling and the others believe that my parents were truly husband and wife, and that my father was a soldier. Mom let out a muffled sigh. She never expected that after knowing Yu Ling for over 10 years, Yu Ling would stab her in the back like this, but before long, she had come to terms with it. Now that she had seen Yu Ling's true colors, it at least meant cutting her losses in time. Dad was actually the one who felt most guilty. If he hadn't been so busy with work all these years and too busy to come home, Mom wouldn't have been dragged through the mud with those rumors. In an instant, the roles were reversed, and it was Mom comforting him. The two of them were all lovey-dovey together. I ended up being the glaringly obvious third wheel. Later, the whole thing spread through the neighborhood. People often saw my parents walking and shopping together, and the rumors gradually died down. News that I had been admitted to Tsinghua and Peking University also spread everywhere. A few parents wanted to ask me to tutor their children, who were about to enter their final year of high school, but then I remembered that these neighbors had all spoken ill of my mother behind her back. I really couldn't bring myself to be magnanimous, so I turned them all down. Besides, we were about to leave for Jing City, and with all the packing to do every day, I couldn't spare the time. I had even less time to pay attention to Yuling across the hall. It wasn't until I went downstairs to pick up a package that I ran into Yuling and Qin Xian. I was very surprised. Qin Xian had actually been let out. He looked much thinner, with stubble all over his face and dark, heavy circles under his eyes, but I was only stunned for a moment. I gave them a cool glance, then turned and walked away. Qin Xian called out to me, "Ching Ching." The moment his hand was about to touch my arm, I immediately sidestepped. Taking 2 steps back, he froze on the spot. A fleeting trace of hurt crossed his haggard face. "Ching Ching, you're not going to talk to me anymore, are you?" I let out a scoff. "And you are, why should I pay you any mind?" 11. Maybe I once had a girlish crush on Qin Xian, but after his heart kept leaning towards Suyu again and again, whatever feelings I had left had long since faded away. Besides, I don't believe in those so-called winning your wife back after hitting rock bottom stories, so when I saw the deep regret in his shocked expression, I didn't think he was regretting hurting me. He only regretted that changing his college application choices had caused him so much trouble. It wasn't until I got home that I learned the real reason Qin Xian had been let out. When Suyu's application choices were altered, Qin Xian's computer was used, so he was the most suspicious, but Suyu was also at Qin Xian's house at the time. Qin Xian said it was Suyu who used his computer to do it, but Suyu said she was in the bathroom at the time and couldn't possibly have touched the computer. There were no security cameras at home. Once again, both sides stuck to their own version of events. It seems to have turned into a Rashomon-like mess, but that day, when I posted the phone recording of Qin Xian changing my college application choices in the class group chat, Suyu had already clarified that Qin Xian was playing a game, so he couldn't have used a computer to change my choices. Qin Xian instantly had an alibi. It was said that Suyu got so worked up she threw a fit at the police station. She insisted that she was the one who played the game. After it was over, she went to the restroom, and Qin Xian went to change my college application choices. Since Qin Xian had taught her the game strategy, and it was her first time clearing the level, she was thrilled. So after Qin Xian finished changing my application choices, she dragged him over to take a selfie in front of the victory screen. But that still doesn't change the fact there were no cameras at home. There was no evidence to prove that what Suyu said was true. Besides, Yu had already used Qin Xian's computer once before to change her college preferences. It was also while she was posting in the group chat to clear Qin Xian's name over the changed application choices that Qin Xian was playing games and hadn't touched the computer, so Qin Xian was released for lack of evidence. Yu was devastated. She never imagined that the explanation she made for Qin Xian in the class group chat would come back to bite her, ruining the most important thing in her life. The college entrance exam. 12. Suyu's parents started running around everywhere, trying to help her. They asked many people whether it might be possible to hold Qin Xian accountable. The conclusion was always the same: there wasn't enough evidence. They went back to the Education Examinations Authority to ask whether her application choices could be restored, but the admission letters were almost all sent out already, and the recruitment process was in its final stage. There was simply no way to restore them. Gradually, they broke down too. Su's father blamed Suyu for egging Qin Xian on to change my application choices. Su's mother blamed Su's father again for not scolding their daughter. In turn, Su's father accused Su's mother of spoiling Suyu, which led to today's tragedy. Suyu had already been on the verge of a breakdown. Watching her parents argue every day only made her mental state worse. She fell into a state of agitation and anxiety. Meanwhile, Mr. Su and Mrs. Su were too busy arguing over and over to prove they hadn't harmed their daughter. And no one noticed anything unusual about Suyu. Not until Suyu went missing. While they were searching everywhere for Suyu, she had spotted Qin Xian just as he was leaving class. She quickly walked up behind him and drove a knife into his back, twisting the hilt hard. "It was all your fault. You changed my college applications and ruined my chance to get into Fudan. Die, just die." That blow didn't kill Qin Xian, but it damaged his spine. He'll be in a wheelchair for the rest of his Life, Suyu was sent to a psychiatric hospital. The Su family paid Chin Sayan a huge sum of money in compensation and even sold their house. Su's father had no mind to keep running the company, and it went under. The whole family vanished from the city after Chin Sayan was paralyzed. His personality changed drastically. He shut himself away at home every day, flying into rages and throwing things at the slightest thing. Driving off several caregivers, Yu Ling had no choice but to quit her job and take care of him herself, but over time, she grew resentful too. The mother and son fought every day at home. Later, Yu Ling no longer wanted to look after him either, and spent her days going out to play mahjong with others until the debt collectors came knocking. It was only then that Yu Ling realized Chin Sayan had gotten hooked on online gambling and racked up a huge debt. To pay it off, Yu Ling had no choice but to sell the house. In the end, she took Chin Sayan and disappeared without a trace. When I heard all this, all I could do was sigh with regret. Those who harm others ultimately harm themselves. Everything is a cycle of cause and effect. Everyone must bear the consequences of their own evil intentions. 13. A long time later, once, I logged into my account on a website, only to find I'd ended up signed into a different account. It suddenly reminded me of what happened years ago when my college application choices were changed. A flash of inspiration. I'm piecing it back together. Bit by bit, slowly, the truth about what happened back then came to light. Back then, both the college entrance exam registration and the application for choices were handled in the same system. When I registered, I logged in using Chin Sayan's computer, so the website remembered the account and password, but later, Suyu also used the same computer to log in, and the website remembered that password as well. When Chin Sayan tried to log in, the saved account would pop up. He had originally meant to log into my account, but maybe, like me just now, his hand slipped a little and he clicked on Suyu's account instead, logging in successfully. Chin Sayan and I once made a promise that we'd go to Fudan University together. If we couldn't get in, we'd still apply to the same schools and end up at the same university. So after the college entrance exam scores came out, he even used dropping something off as an excuse to leave the printed out application list on the coffee table in my living room. He thought I would still choose the same schools as he did, but I'd already discussed it with my family and made plans to go to Qingbei. I didn't even look at that preference form, I just tossed it away. On the other hand, Siyu had a score close to his, and since they had agreed to attend the same university, they applied for the same preferences. That's why Chin Sayan mistook Siyu's application for mine and changed it directly, and I had no doubt that he changed something other than my college preferences. I stared at the computer and let out a long sigh. Maybe this is just fate. If Chin Sayan had logged into my account back then, the page would have definitely told him the password was incorrect. Then he'd know I'd changed the password, and he wouldn't be able to get in anymore. But of all things, he'd signed into Suyu's account, and wouldn't you know it, Suyu had also applied to the same schools as him, and Chin Sayan was so sure that I'd still choose the same schools as he did. By a twist of fate, their scheme backfired, delivering the heaviest blow of their lives. But this incident also served as a wake-up call for me. I logged out of the system, found the browser's saved passwords, and clicked delete all. From now on, whatever you do, don't take the easy way out by saving any passwords on your computer. End of text.